5 women pound on a wooden door at midnight. Inside, music, laughter, warm light spilling through the cracks. Their lamps burn bright in their hands, oil sloshing in freshly bought flasks. They did everything right. They have everything they need. But from the other side of that door, a voice comes through, calm, quiet, final. Before we get to that door, think about the thing you've been putting off. Not the small stuff, the one that matters. The savings account you haven't opened. The conversation you keep rehearsing but never starting. The checkup you've rescheduled 3 times. You know what it is. You've known for a while. And every week, the same quiet voice says the same thing. I'll get to it. There's a moment, and you never see it coming, when later quietly becomes too late. No alarm goes off. No one warns you. The deadline just passes while you're still planning to start. This is a story about 10 women invited to the same celebration. Same lamps, same clothes, same spot on the wall. But when midnight came, only half walked through the door. The other half stood outside, holding everything they needed, just hours too late. And that door never opened again. 1st century Palestine. A small village near Jerusalem where a wedding is about to unfold. Not a brief ceremony with a reception after, but a multi-day community event. The entire village gathers. Families who've been negotiating for months finally seal a covenant over food, music, and dancing. This isn't a private affair. It's the social event of the season. The groom has spent weeks, sometimes months, preparing a bridal chamber in his father's house. He builds it, furnishes it, makes every detail ready. But he cannot go collect his bride until one thing happens. His father inspects the room and gives his approval. Until the father says go, the groom waits. That could take hours. That could take days. Nobody knows when approval comes. Could be dusk, could be midnight, could be the dead hours before dawn. The timing belongs to the father alone. The whole village waits. The bride at her family's house, the bridesmaids gathered at the meeting point, even the groom himself sitting in his finished room, watching the door. When the father finally gives the word, the groom and his closest friends burst into the streets with torches, singing, and drums. The procession winds through narrow village passages to collect the bride and carry her toward the wedding hall. Neighbors lean from windows. Children scramble for a view. The dark streets come alive. The bridesmaids, these 10 women, have one essential role. Stand ready with lit lamps when the groom arrives. Their flames are the only light on those streets after sunset. No lamps, no procession. No procession, no wedding. They aren't decoration. They are the infrastructure of the entire celebration. The lamps are simple, small clay dishes, open at the top, a cotton wick floating in olive oil. Fill one up and it might burn 3 or 4 hours. maybe less if the wind picks up or the wick isn't trimmed right. The flame is small, fragile, constantly hungry for fuel. Olive oil is precious. Families either press it from their own trees or buy it seasonally at market, accumulating supply over months. Every drop represents weeks of labor before it ever touches a wick. Carrying extra oil means bringing a separate sealed flask, heavier, bulkier, more to manage in the dark. You have to decide before leaving home whether you believe this night might stretch long. That choice is made quietly, with no external pressure, exactly when the most consequential decisions either get made or slip away. Once the groom arrives and the full procession enters the wedding hall, the door is barred from inside, sealed shut. In Jewish wedding tradition, the feast becomes a closed event. Latecomers aren't just inconvenienced, they're locked out entirely, treated as if they were never invited. The celebration has begun. If you're outside, you don't exist. This is the world of the story. Real oil in real lamps, real darkness on real streets, and a real door that once closed doesn't open again. 10 women gather at the meeting point as dusk falls over the hills. From the outside, they're identical. Same white robes, same freshly trimmed clay lamps, same nervous anticipation humming between them. They talk, they laugh, they lean against the stone wall. Tonight could be the night. But 5 of them are carrying something the others aren't. Sealed flasks of extra oil hidden beneath their robes. Not because someone told them to. One of them attended a wedding 2 years before, where the groom arrived well after midnight. She watched her lamp begin to die in the dark, felt that creeping panic, and never forgot it. So she quietly filled a second flask before leaving home. No announcement, no lecture to the others, just a small, private choice made in a private moment, the kind that seems insignificant until suddenly it's everything. She never warned the other 5, didn't pull anyone aside. Each of the wise ones made her own quiet calculation and arrived at the same conclusion through her own experience. Pack for the possibility of delay. The remaining 5 didn't bring extra oil, and they weren't foolish for it. Not yet. They looked at the same conditions and made a perfectly reasonable judgment. The groom would arrive soon enough. Why carry unnecessary weight? Their logic was sound at sunset, the same reasoning that lets you skip a doctor's visit when you're feeling fine. It was optimism without a backup plan. Nothing more, not recklessness or defiance, just a quiet wager that the night would follow the path everyone expected. You've made this same bet, leaving for the airport with just enough time if traffic cooperates, starting a project the week before it's due, assuming nothing goes wrong, carrying exactly what fits the scenario you expect. For hours, that gamble seemed justified. While the oil burned and the lamps glowed, you couldn't tell the 2 groups apart. Same light, same warmth, same faces in the same golden glow. The only difference lived inside a clay flask that nobody thought to check. Preparation and its absence wear the same face until midnight arrives. The person who's been quietly building something and the person who hasn't sit side by side, telling the same jokes, looking identical. The gap is there, hidden like a hairline fracture in bone, invisible on the surface, catastrophic under pressure. Here's what makes this story uncomfortable. For most of the evening, readiness and unreadiness are completely indistinguishable. The crisis hasn't struck yet. The difference hasn't surfaced. Everyone looks the same until the moment it matters. And by then, it's too late to change anything. What the wise ones carry isn't visible confidence or moral superiority. It's just a flask of oil, a quiet acknowledgement that the night might ask more of them than they originally planned for. The smallest act of preparation made when no one was watching. The night deepens. The groom doesn't arrive at dusk, not at 9, not at 10. The village settles into silence. Dogs stop barking, cooking fires cool to ash, the last voices fade. Stars shift overhead while the oil in 10 lamps burns steadily lower. One by one, the women's eyes close, their heads dropping against cold stone. All 10 fall asleep, wise and foolish alike, lamps guttering in the same wind. Even readiness needs rest. The parable doesn't criticize sleeping. All 10 slept side by side. The wise ones didn't stay awake obsessively guarding their oil or lecturing the others about preparation. What separates them isn't vigilance. It's what they packed before they closed their eyes. This is the invisible stretch of the story, the long, quiet middle where nothing seems to happen. No drama, no crisis, just hours passing and oil consuming itself drop by drop in the dark. Most people skip this part, but this is where everything actually unfolds. It's not the moment of crisis that separates people. It's the hours before it arrives. The silent stretch where urgency feels distant and everything still appears manageable. That's the test nobody recognizes as a test until it's already over. Think about a candle burning down. The flame shrinks, wavers, dances sideways, but it persists. You watch it and think there's still time, still light. Then the shift comes from flame to darkness in what feels like an instant. That's what was happening on that wall while every eye stayed closed. Centimeter by centimeter, moment by moment. Then midnight breaks the silence. A shout tears through the darkness. The bridegroom is here. Every woman jolts awake, heart hammering, hands fumbling for lamps in the dark. The wise ones move fast. They uncork their flasks, pour oil onto dry wicks, trim the charred edges. Their flames climb steady and bright. The foolish ones reach for their lamps and find them dry. The oil burned through during those hours of sleep. They shake the vessels, hold them to their ears like empty shells. Nothing. They ask the wise ones to share, a reasonable request, the kind you'd make between friends. But the wise ones refuse. There won't be enough for everyone. Go find the merchants and buy your own. It sounds harsh, even selfish, but something more fundamental is happening beneath the surface. The oil isn't like bread you can break in half. It's a minimum threshold. Split it and 10 lamps die instead of 5. Share it and nobody makes it through the door. Some resources simply cannot be divided without destroying them entirely. So, the foolish ones turn and run into pitch-black streets at midnight. 5 women sprinting through a sleeping village, pounding on shuttered shop doors, calling into the darkness for an oil seller who should have been found hours ago. Behind them, the first notes of wedding music begin. The crisis didn't create the problem. It simply exposed what had been missing all along. The procession arrives while 5 women are still stumbling through empty streets. Torches blaze, drums pound. The groom's closest friends sing blessings into the night air as the village stirs awake. Faces at windows, children rubbing their eyes, someone shouting congratulations from a rooftop. The streets that were dark and silent minutes ago now pulse with light and noise and joy. The 5 wise bridesmaids step into the procession with their lamps burning steady and bright, casting golden light across the narrow stone streets. They walk alongside the groom toward the wedding hall where the bride waits, their flames guiding the way through the last stretch of darkness. This is the moment they prepared for. They reach the hall and families embrace at the threshold. Long tables overflow with lamb roasted in rosemary and garlic, warm flatbread stacked high, bowls of olives and dates, honey in clay jars, wine poured freely. The smell of roasting meat and crushed mint fills the warm stone room as musicians strike their first notes and laughter bounces off the walls. Children dart between tables grabbing figs and almonds. Old family disputes dissolve as everyone breaks bread in the same room. This gathering is more than a meal. It's belonging, an entire community sealed together inside one celebration, sharing one joy. Then the heavy wooden door closes. A thick cedar beam drops into its iron brackets. The sound isn't angry or dramatic, just final. Inside, light and warmth and music and the sound of people who belong to each other. Outside, cold stone, empty streets, and a silence so complete you can hear the wind moving through the olive trees on the hill above the village. The division is absolute. 3 feet of limestone and 1 barred door separate 2 completely different worlds. Minutes pass, then 5 figures appear at the far end of the empty street, running, oil sloshing in freshly purchased flasks, lamps finally burning, feet slapping stone, out of breath, late. They can see the golden glow spilling from the windows. They can hear the celebration, a song starting, someone laughing, the clatter of cups. They can smell the feast through the open upper windows. They're so close. They made it back. They're here. They reach the door. They pound. Lord, Lord, open the door for us! Remember the opening of this story. This is that moment. Fists on wood, voices cracking with desperation, oil lamps burning bright in their trembling hands. Finally, now, too late. They did everything the wise ones did. They bought oil. They lit their wicks. They came to the right door. They followed every instruction, except for one crucial detail. They arrived after midnight had already passed. From behind the sealed door comes the bridegroom's voice, measured, almost quiet beneath the music. Truly, I tell you, I do not know you. Not anger, not disappointment, not a call to try harder. Just a complete erasure of connection, as though they were strangers from the road, as though no invitation had ever carried their names. What follows is silence, and it's the loudest part of the entire story. Not the silence of peace, the silence of something permanent. The kind that settles after a phone call ends badly, after a relationship breaks, after you realize the last chance passed and you didn't know it was the last one. 5 women stand in the dark with burning lamps and full flasks and nowhere to go. Everything they need is in their hands now. But the door had already closed. They were ready after midnight. Not before, when preparation would have mattered. Not during, when action could have changed something. After, when the only thing left is the weight of knowing what you should have done and didn't. The wound at the center of this story isn't moral failure. These women weren't locked out for being wicked or unworthy. They were locked out because they confused intention with actual preparation. They wanted to be ready. They planned to attend. They believed that wanting it badly enough was the same as having built it. But wanting and possessing are entirely different things. The oil was never just oil. It was everything that accumulates slowly and cannot be transferred in a crisis. The relationship built through 1,000 small moments of showing up. The health maintained through daily choices nobody celebrates. The depth of faith grown through years of quiet practice. Not one desperate prayer screamed at a locked door. The flask fills itself long before midnight comes. When the wise bridesmaids refused to share, they weren't being cruel. They were being honest. Divide the oil and all 10 lamps die. Some things are simply non-transferable. You cannot borrow someone else's marriage. You cannot carry someone else's faith into your own emergency. Readiness isn't built at midnight. It fills drop by drop through kept promises, through showing up when nothing feels urgent. Once midnight arrives, you either have what you've built or you don't. The story offers no rescue. No one opens that door. Jesus ends with 6 words. Keep watch. You do not know the day or the hour. In 2007, psychologist Piers Steele published a massive meta-analysis of over 800 studies on procrastination. His finding: 95% of people habitually delay on things they know matter, not as an occasional slip, but as a consistent pattern. He called the mechanism temporal discounting, the brain's wired tendency to shrink the weight of future consequences against present comfort. The further away a deadline sits, the less real it feels. The less real it feels, the easier it becomes to postpone. Those 5 bridesmaids weren't foolish. Their brains were doing exactly what every human brain does, devaluing what isn't urgent right now. The groom wasn't here yet. The lamps still burned. Why carry extra weight for a problem that might never arrive? This pattern shows up everywhere you look. The average American between 55 and 64 has saved roughly $53,000 for retirement, despite decades of earning, despite knowing they should save, despite intending to start every single January. That's 2 years of expenses, maybe less. The flask is nearly empty, and midnight is close. It happens with health, too. Research from the American Heart Association shows that nearly half of adults who experience major cardiac events had dismissed warning signs for months or years beforehand. Chest tightness they waved away, shortness of breath they rationalized as stress. They knew, they intended to make an appointment. They just hadn't done it yet. But the parable's real power isn't about money or physical health. It's about what cannot be borrowed or transferred when the crisis finally arrives. Research on prospective coping, the practice of mentally preparing for challenges before they arrive, shows that people who do this perform dramatically better under sudden stress than those who only react after the crisis hits. Filling the flask is the unglamorous daily work, the morning routine nobody photographs, the hard conversation you have while things are still calm, the relationships you invest in before any emergency demands them. The things that matter most can't be downloaded at the last minute. You can't borrow someone else's fitness during a health crisis. You can't absorb a strong marriage from a book the night before your spouse walks out. You can't inhale decades of spiritual depth in one panicked prayer. The phone call to your aging father, the skill you've been meaning to develop, the friendship you've let go cold, none of these can be outsourced when midnight arrives. So, what's your oil? What have you been meaning to fill but keep postponing because the night still feels young, because there's still time? The most dangerous word in this story isn't no, it's later. Later sounds responsible. Later acknowledges the task. Later promises action. But later moves nothing. Later is just an empty flask pretending to be a plan. The door closed not because the bridesmaids were bad people, but because the wedding started. Joy didn't wait for the unprepared. The celebration moved forward on its own schedule, and they were either inside or they weren't. There's a parallel in emergency medicine. The golden hour, that critical first 60 minutes after major trauma, determines survival. The same intervention that saves a life during that window becomes far less effective once it closes. Jesus was describing something similar. Not one dramatic failure, but 1,000 small unmade decisions piling up before the deadline. The oil doesn't materialize at midnight. It gets filled during quiet afternoons when you choose action instead of deferral. But here's what's striking about this story. The real invitation isn't fear at all. It's freedom. The woman who brought extra oil didn't spend the night in anxiety. She slept peacefully because the work was already done. Readiness didn't create her worry, it dissolved it. Right now, tonight, the door is still open. The music hasn't started yet. There's still time to do the quiet, unglamorous work of filling the flask, the conversation you've been avoiding, the practice you abandoned, the health you've been neglecting, the relationship gone cold. Tonight, the choice still exists, not from panic, from freedom. The only question left is the simplest one. When midnight comes, and it will, what will be in your lamp?